Hello and welcome to the Introduction to Online Learning lecture. So before I begin an online class, I always like to present students with advice and tips for strategies for success in an online class. Many times students may be taking a class online for the very first time. Many of you may have had many online classes before, but I'd like to begin with this so that we can make sure that everyone's on the same page with strategies for online courses, as well as general familiarity with the tools that we'll be using for our online class. So one thing to be aware of is that online learning is different from a traditional classroom course. If you think about a traditional classroom course, you're going to be spending 3 hours a week in a specific place at a specific time, usually with some kind of lecture or in-class discussion. Online learning is completely different in that there is no specific place and time when this online learning is going to be taking place. It's very flexible and convenient, and it will work with your schedule. However, this flexibility and this convenience often means that students can sometimes procrastinate, or they can not engage fully in the course materials. So we're going to talk about tips to develop effective online learning strategies and skills. And this is based on some research. Roper 2014 used a survey of students to figure out what strategies and skills these students used, and they found to be most effective for successfully navigating an online course. The first tip here is to set up a system. You want to find a place for you to work. You are going to need a physical space to work. This might be a home office. This might be a coffee shop. Whatever place works best for you, you need to find a place that is relatively quiet and free of distractions, where you're going to be able to concentrate and work on these course materials. So you're going to need a physical place to work. Make sure that you're comfortable with the online tools for the course. So spend a minute, spend some time early on clicking around the various options that you have available to you in Sakai. You want to make sure that you're comfortable with the quizzes, with the way the forums work, the way the assignments work in advance, so that it's not 11:58 and your assignment is due at 11:59 and you're just now trying to figure out, okay, how do I upload this assignment? So you want to make sure that you play around with these things well in advance, so that if you do have questions, you can send me an email with enough time for me to get back to you, so that it doesn't become a problem. Also, make sure you're comfortable communicating via email. Make sure your email is set up. Make sure that you remember your password and how to log in. Remember, I don't use Sakai messages, so email is going to be the only way you're going to be able to contact me directly. And also, make sure you ask for help right away. If something doesn't seem like it's working, or you're not sure what, how to upload something, or whether or not your forum was posted, make sure you ask me and send me an email right away. The time to come and contact me is not 2 weeks after an assignment was due and say, I thought I uploaded this assignment, but it turns out I think I was wrong. You want to make sure of that and make sure of that right away. Now, the second tip that's really important is developing a time management strategy. Online classes require a greater degree of active participation on the part of the student. If you think of a traditional face-to-face class, this usually is going to end up taking 6 to 8 hours per week, but 3 of those hours are going to be passive hours, where you literally just have to show up to a place on time. For an online class, you're going to need to spend that same exact amount of time, typically 6 to 8 hours a week, but it's all going to be active, and it is all going to require you to set up time for yourself to accomplish the tasks for the class. This class in particular is going to require double that amount of time per week because as a summer class, we're going to be covering 2 units a week. So you should be devoting in your schedule between 12 and 16 hours for this class. Okay. The best way to do this is to set up a schedule, right? The best way to do this is sit down with your schedule of all the things that you have to do. You may have work, you may have family obligations, you may have various, you may go to the gym, you may go to church, whatever it is you do in your week. Sit down with your schedule and then block off time for the course. The easiest way to stay up on online courses is to block off time in your schedule so that you know every Tuesday at 6 o'clock from 6 to 8, that's the time that you've set aside to read the chapter and work on the quiz. And every Wednesday from 5 to 9, that's when you're going to be working on the assignments. And then every Friday, that's when you're going to be, blah, 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 blah. The idea is that what you want to do is block off this time in your schedule so it becomes habitual. So that again, you have predictability. Okay, it's Tuesday at 5 o'clock. This is when I need to be working on this part of this course. And this is the way to, this is one really good way to develop a time management strategy so that you don't get behind and so that you're able to stay on top of the course material. You want to be logging into the course at a minimum 3 times per week. I will be posting course materials on Mondays, and then I will be posting them again on Wednesdays. And we will cover 2 units per week. The Monday unit will end on Fridays. The Wednesday unit will end on Sundays. So you're going to need to be logging in a minimum of 3 times a week. You will probably be logging in twice that amount. Another strategy for online learning is to make the most of the online discussions. Now, in this particular course, we are not going to be relying too much on online discussions, but in other courses that you may encounter, you will have weekly online discussions. And these discussions tend to be the primary source of interaction in the course. When you're working on discussions, you want to ask questions. You want to make connections between something that someone said and some experience you've had or something you read in the book. You want to respond to your classmates in a substantive way, in a way that advances the conversation or provides evidence or support for a particular point. For discussions, you want to post early and often. Discussions don't work if everyone is treating them like an assignment and doing them the night that they are due. That doesn't really foster a discussion. That fosters sort of a sequence of posts, which is not as interactive as discussions are meant to be. Obviously, have something meaningful to add. Don't just simply say, I agree, or it's great to hear, or congratulations. You don't want to treat these discussions like assignments, and you definitely don't want to post at the last minute. It's kind of like voting in Chicago, post early and often. Again, for this class, there's only going to be 2 discussions, so this isn't going to be as critical of a component to this class. But for other online classes, this can be a critical piece. The last piece is to stay motivated. Successful online students, keep their eye on the prize. They think about that final grade. They think about the goal that they're trying to accomplish with this online class. In this particular class, that goal is developing the skills to produce a research proposal and developing a basic understanding of research methodology. And this basic understanding of research methodology, these 2 skills, are going to be critical for you as graduate students to set you up for success in ultimately producing a master's thesis and or potentially a doctoral dissertation. One way to stay motivated is to have an accountability buddy, right? An online relationship with another student, someone that you can talk to, that you can bounce ideas off of. Maybe you meet with periodically to talk about the course materials or anything else that's going on in your life. Someone else that you know that's in the class. Having an online relationship with another student will help to keep you accountable. That student might send you an email, or you might send an email, hey, don't forget, assignment number 1 is due on Saturday. That'll help to keep you motivated and help to keep you and your other friend, student in the class engaged in the class. Successful students set goals and reward themselves. So, you set a goal. I'm going to finish assignment number 1 on Friday so that I can have it proofread and turned in on Saturday morning well before the deadline. And if you set that goal and then you accomplish it, you should reward yourself with something. Perhaps it's a glass of wine, or perhaps it's, a night out at a restaurant with your significant other. Perhaps it's, this, whatever this is, strawberry, creamy, chocolatey goodness right here. Whatever it is, you want to set goals and then reward yourself for accomplishing those goals. And then remember that everyone can earn an A in this course. It's a points-based course. Everyone can earn an A, but it's up to you, and you need to take responsibility, set your schedule, and keep yourself motivated so that you can stay with the course and you can accomplish your goals. So these are the 4 tips for online learning. Now we'll just briefly take a look at Sakai, and we'll talk about some of the tools that we'll use for the course. So when you log into Sakai, this is the main page that you're going to see right here. I have a brief introduction video here where I introduce myself to you, and you can see what I look and sound like. The syllabus is posted here. I will do my best to make use of the course schedule and announcements. And the primary link that you're going to be using for this course is going to be the lessons link. So when we click on this lessons link, notice it will take us to a list of lessons. Now, so far, I've only posted 3 lessons, but this is where I will post each of the lessons for the course. And you'll notice that each lesson will have a date, and each date and each lesson will correspond to the course calendar that's outlined on the syllabus. Now, if you haven't done so already, what I encourage you to do is go ahead and click on the syllabus introduction link here. And you will notice when you click on this lesson, there'll be a video where I briefly explain the syllabus, and then there'll be the supporting documentation. Every week there will be some kind of instruction, perhaps a web lecture video, or perhaps just some text-based instruction. And then there will be various assignments and quizzes that are associated with that week's materials. So if we hit the back button here, this will take us back to our lessons. Now, if we look at the Introduction to Online Learning, right now I am creating the web lecture that I will post to Introduction to Online Learning. So when you click on this, you will see a video right here. You will also see a link to the PowerPoint file that I used for the How to Be a Successful Online Students lecture that you just watched. There is also a link to the forum. So this week's assignment is just a general introduction. So when you click on that forum, that's one of our 2 discussion posts. You will see some instructions on, what you need to post introducing yourself to the class. And you will also see a link to this week's quiz. This week's quiz covers only this particular lecture and the syllabus. So it's relatively straightforward. Again, it's just sort of designed to ease you into the course. Every week, everything that you need for that week will be posted here under the Lessons tab, and it will correspond directly to the course calendar on the syllabus. So this is it for the Introduction to Online Learning video. Please, again, as always, don't hesitate to email me with any questions that you might have. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and post into the introduction forum for this week and begin working on quiz number 1. And again, if you haven't done so already, make sure you watch the syllabus introduction video as well.